Well,
Hey toy fans, Aaron here. Sorry this one's late, it's been a busy couple days, but if you're ever wondering, where's his videos? At Toy Shelf Review on Twitter, I'll usually send an update saying I'm gonna be late. But anyways, checking out the Solo Force Link 2 TIE Fighter. Let's head to the table and check this one out. And taking a look at the packaging, this is Solo branded. It's the Force Link 2 TIE Fighter. So you got that yellow Star Wars logo in the top left corner. Of course, you see the Solo characters at the top right. Front and center on the packaging, you got a nice image of the TIE Fighter as it flies through space. Lots of fire around it. Some X-Wings and other TIE Fighters in the background. So that's all really nice looking, nice packaging art. Through the window, you see the included TIE Fighter pilot. On the left side, a little image showing you that the TIE Fighter is Force Link enabled. Moving to the left side of the box, you see the big Force Link 2 advertisement that we get on all the other vehicles. On the right side of the packaging, nothing to see here. Just the Star Wars logo and that packaging art from the front continues to the side. I'm a little surprised there's not an artwork of the TIE Fighter pilot. And on the back, pretty much the usual here. Big Force Link advertisement on the top right side showing you that the figure and vehicle are both enabled for this. In the center, you got a nice image of the TIE Fighter that's included, along with various features being shown off. Opening hatch up top, firing projectiles out of the bottom, blast off wings, and that you have an included TIE Fighter pilot. And to the left side, just a brief description about the TIE Fighter. So out of the packaging, you do have a touch of assembling to do, since the main feature of this toy is that it breaks apart. You're kind of always assembling it anyways, but nevertheless, here's a quick look. Obviously, 2 TIE Fighter wings. These are a little different than what we've gotten in the past, meaning the entire wing is not all that softer or rubbery plastic. The darker panels that you see is a hard plastic, but all this gray edging running around the sides through the middle, that's all rubber. And then as you see, you got your 2 main body pieces. You got a piece here that finishes off the bottom. You got your canopy that goes on top. 2 firing projectiles, and just to note, this is kind of flopping around in the box. You've got 4 stickers here that you place on the inside of the vehicle, or on the edges of the interior. So keep your eye out for that as you open it up. And then of course we got the TIE Fighter pilot that's included, along with a set of instructions. Just a size comparison, here on the left is the 1995 Power of the Force 2 version of the TIE Fighter. So as you can see, these wings are definitely larger in scale. The overall footprint of the 95 TIE Fighter is just a little bit wider, but it seems to me that the whole of the ship itself is the same size. It's actually just this part that snaps into the body and extends to the wing that seems to be larger on the older version in comparison to this new one. Now don't get too excited yet. This is not the large scale version that you recall from, say, the Saga collection, which, cutting that shot up, this Saga collection is the one on the right side. Force Link 2 Solo version is the one you're seeing on the left side. So this one does sit smaller than that Saga version. And now concentrating just on this Force Link TIE Fighter that we're getting, overall, I think this is a very nice looking vehicle. As far as the coloring of the plastic of the vehicle, it leans more gray instead of some of the blues that we've received before. And man, I think you can go back and forth. Is the vehicles blue? Are they gray? I think it depends on the shot you're looking at in the movie. Obviously, I think the vehicles were gray to begin with, or white, just because they needed to be keyed out and they were using blue screen, so you can't use a blue vehicle. So the coloring of this vehicle is something that could probably go on for a very long time, and that's where I'll just leave that. As far as the sculpting goes, the black plastic on the wings looks like you would expect them to look. The solar panels, lots of little lines in there. As for the detailing in the center of the wings and all the lines, like I mentioned earlier, this piece is rubber, but the molding of it turned out fantastic. Looks great. You got quite a bit of detailing inside all the little, I guess, mechanical bits or parts, whatever, sculpted in there. As far as the main body itself, nice sculpting going on here. It looks exactly like you expect a TIE Fighter to look like. Off to the sides of the window areas, you can see you got some gray painting in there. That's a little different. I don't believe that's actually accurate to what we saw in Star Wars, but they did it here. Gives the body a little dressing, I guess, little color. I'm okay with it. I have no problem with that. The dark gray around the window area is looking really good. I'm having a really hard time telling if that is all clear plastic painted gray, or if the clear plastic is inserted next to the gray plastic. Nevertheless, that's looking good here. And then down here towards the bottom of the vehicle where you got the missiles sticking out that do shoot out. Not the best paint job on those. I'll show that off in a little bit, but you see you got some red painted in there. It's already chipping off on mine. As far as the back side of the vehicle, well, similar sculpting that we're used to seeing. Things are looking pretty accurate here. You still got some dark gray painting throughout the back side of the body, along with a little bit of red for some tail lights. Again, here too, that red is chipping off on me. At the bottom of the vehicle, a little bit more sculpting here, I think, than we're used to seeing. At least this time, there's a small cannon, looks like it's sculpted in there. And then you got the little button here at the bottom. And when you push that, then those little cannons shoot out. So they shoot out nicely. They look great. I like the fluorescent green that they used. And then they painted the tips gray and red. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, the paint is just not holding on well to these. As you can see, the gray here is already chipped off on mine. On one of them anyways. The red though on this one is looking good. It's holding anyways. But on my other missile, the red has a nice chunk missing out of it. Unfortunately, this is how it came out of the packaging. So, you know, I don't think as far as the durability of this paint, you start shooting these around, I don't think this coloring is just going to hold up too well. Which is unfortunate because I really like the way this works, you know, sitting inside the vehicle, hiding the green, but you still get that green blaster look. At the top of the vehicle, Canopy looks like you would expect. That black is painted in there, and it's looking pretty good to me. And it does flip open where you can slide your figure inside there. As you can see on the inside, the top of that lid, lots of little sculpting and stuff going on there, little mechanical bits and various lines sculpted in. So I like the detailing that they did to the top of the inside of this canopy. Inside the canopy, detailing's looking really good. And I think actually I'm going to show the break apart feature and then come back to the canopy because that's going to make it a lot easier to show this off. So anyways, on this one, you got a button right here on the top of the wing. And when you push that, well, it doesn't really spring out, but it does break apart. So as you can see, the front part of the vehicle, along with one of the wings, breaks off from the rest of the main body. And what that leaves you with is some nice sculpting in through here for some battle damage. You've got those 4 stickers that you saw earlier. You apply those in here. I think overall it's pretty cool looking. It certainly adds something different to the vehicle for playability that we haven't seen before. And now I'll just go ahead and open up that canopy, and we're getting a pretty good look on the inside of the vehicle now. So you got a little seat sculpted in there, not the big bulky one that we've had before, but this just lays flat, different colored plastic to that. You got nice detailing throughout the interior of the compartment, just showing various lines sculpted in there. I don't know what else to really say about it other than you have a nicely designed interior. And for the control areas in front of the pilot, here too, lots of sculpting going on. You got a couple control panels sculpted in there. No real additional painting or sculpting. The plastic here for these pieces is a darker color gray than the rest of the front. But then for the rest of the vehicle, you know, just lots more lines and stuff sculpted in there. And the included pilot, you can get him in there. He just fits. So at the end of the day, that's accomplished. He does fit in there. And then you can close that lid. There you go. As far as force link sounds of the TIE Fighter, get ready to be blown away by this sound.
Firmware update required. Firmware update required. Firmware update required.
Yes, firmware update required. I'm up to date on mine. That's pretty disappointing. I was looking forward to hearing how this sounded. And now taking a quick look at the TIE Fighter pilot that's included. He is mostly a reissue of the TIE Striker pilot. I'll put those up side by side real quick so you can check them out. The helmet, the arms, the legs, to me all look the same as that figure. It is the mid part of the body that is different on this particular figure. It just looks a little bit thinner, but you've also got some additional belt detailing that isn't present on the TIE Striker version. And on the back side of the figure, you've got more detailing on his back on this new version than you did on the TIE Striker, but also not to mention, this guy's a Force Link figure. So like I said, going in real quick on this figure that's included, sculpting wise in the helmet area, it seems pretty good to me. I will just say that overall to this figure, the sculpt just does not seem overly defined. I guess that's the best way to put it. All the little lines and stuff are more soft, almost like it's an old mold or something. So everything kind of just seems a little worn down already. As far as the painting goes, it's all accurate. You got the Imperial symbols on the sides of the helmet. For this guy, I forget the pilot's name, but you got that gray stripe running on top of the helmet, or I should say that gray triangle rather, with a little bit of text printed in there. You got the hoses running down to the chest box, which has a nice paint job to that also. You can see some whites, some grays, some blues painted in there. Little bits of silver on the edges of that chest box, also with some silver buttons painted in at the bottom area. As far as the arms, looks like a TIE Fighter uniform. Some wrinkles sculpted in there. Got the Imperial logo once again on the shoulders of the figure. And on the left forearm of the figure, he's got, I don't know, some comms or something painted in there. Basically a silver square with a couple little highlights of red paint in there. Through the belt areas I've already mentioned, he's got a couple, I mean, I don't know if they're pouches or what, but he's got something sculpted on each side of the belt along with that silver buckle. That silver painting through that area is looking pretty good. And, well, the rest of the figure is black plastic. Kind of an overall dull finish to the clothing of the figure. And then you get down to the boot area where you've got some more glossy black in there. So overall, decent looking figure. I will say also the overall coloring of the black is he's not as deep of a black in comparison to the other TIE Fighter pilots we've had. On its own, as you're holding the single figure, I don't think it's all that noticeable. But when you've got them stacked with other figures, I think it is then noticeable. As far as articulation, you're going to get that head going side to side a little bit there. Obviously with these hoses, it's going to limit your movement a little bit, but it is on a ball joint, so you can get your up and down. You can get a little bit of tilting side to side. As far as the arms, they swivel all the way around, so no problem there. And your legs come straight out, as they should, since he needs to sit down. And if you need to, you can bend them back that far. As far as accessories, he does come with a blaster. This sculpt also looks the same as what you got with the TIE Striker, but here too, it looks like an old sculpt. It's just no real definition to the detailing that's sculpted in there. It already looks like an old weapon. Obviously no special weathering or anything to it, just a black piece of plastic. Fits nicely in his hand, either hand really. And of course no holster anywhere to stick this thing, so if you don't want him holding it, just set it off to the side and hope you don't lose it. As far as the Force Link sounds for this figure,
TIE online, awaiting orders. I've got enemy reinforcements on my radar. Engaging a perimeter sweep.
and then of course doing a sliding motion and shaking gets you various blaster sounds and additional lines of dialogue when you tap it.
Locking onto my target now. Hit them with everything you've got. Taking heavy fire here.
So that's some new sounds there. I certainly don't think we've heard any of those lines before in the movies, but I'll take them since the figure is supposed to have sounds, whereas as I mentioned the TIE Fighter that we all have heard the sound from, currently you're not getting anything. So my overall thoughts on this is that it's a great set. It's a very good looking vehicle. It's great to see the amount of detailing that we got with this vehicle and that break apart feature. I wish it kind of sprung out more when I hit the button, but otherwise it gives the cool battle damage look to the vehicle, and it's nice to see it break apart in a different manner than just, say, wings popping off. As far as the figure, it definitely feels like a throw-in. The definition to the sculpt just isn't there like we've had on the past figures, even the one that this is kit bashed from. So that's a little bit disappointing to see. And then obviously just not having the Force Link sounds for the vehicle. You sell this as a Force Link vehicle that it's going to have sounds. It's disappointing when that feature doesn't work. Maybe an update will come, maybe it won't. And so that wraps up this look at the Solo TIE Fighter. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this vehicle and figure in the comment section below. And if you're not already subscribed, why not go ahead and subscribe? It's fun. It's easy. Anyways, thanks for watching.